Okay.
Good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Hey guys, welcome to Invited.
If you're new here, this is my friend Sarah.
And this is my friend Michelle.
And today we're sharing our favorite Christian books for your summer reading list.
The first one on my list is called Hinds Feet on High Places by Hannah Hurnard. So this book is an allegory, and when I first started reading it, I'm like, what in the world is allegory? So an allegory is a story that has hidden meanings behind it. The main character of this book is named Much Afraid, who desires to go to higher and better places with the Good Shepherd, which is Jesus Christ. However, she's being held back by her family. Now, when you mean a family, it's not really technically a family. It's really the bondage, the stronghold, fear, and doubt that's holding you back. So in her reach to the high places, the shepherd actually gives her two companions. They're called Sorrow and Suffering, but Much Afraid disagrees and thinks that the Good Shepherd doesn't know what's best for her in order to walk through the hills and valleys and mountains. So I don't want to give too much away, but my favorite part is that Much Afraid is a lot like me and probably is a lot like you too. Sometimes we often think that God doesn't know what's best for us, but in reality, He only wants what's best for us. I highly recommend this book if you are currently in a season where God is calling you to higher places, but in the midst of being called to higher places, you have to overcome these trials and tribulations.
One of my favorite books, especially in this season of my life, is The Wait by Devon Franklin and his wife Megan Good. In this book, they share the story of their courtship, marriage, and how the most important key to their success was waiting. Their story is a great example of how abstaining from sex until marriage helps you to determine who you're really meant to be with. Through their practical advice, Megan and Devon make abstaining look cool. But more importantly, they make it feel manageable in a time where the last thing that people do is wait. I recommend this book to anyone who is considering a life of abstinence until marriage, or anyone who is already on that path. I know for me, I struggled with it when I first made the decision, and this book definitely helped solidify a lot of the feelings that I had. It helped to reinforce the message of waiting until marriage and the importance of it, and helps me to also feel like there will be benefits to waiting and that it's not impossible.
One of my current reads now is called How to Worship a King by Zach Neese. So I came across this book on Amazon. I was actually going through a season where I kept seeing lions. On this cover, it displays a lion with a crown on its head and red bold letters, How to Worship a King. And immediately I thought, I'm like, yes, this book is definitely for me. So if you didn't know, I am a worship leader, which is probably why I was also drawn to it. A little bit about this author. Zach is a worship pastor in Texas who does an amazing job explaining that we're all called to a lifestyle of worship. Now, this book is not applicable only just to musicians or audience. In fact, worship is not about performance, but it is to connect, to go before the King, and to build a relationship with Him. It is also about giving your best to Him, and that is all of your heart, all of your mind, and all of yourself. I love that he elaborates that worship is not only music, but the way that we speak to God, the way that we love Him, the way that we admire Him, and put Him first above all else. Even though I am only in chapter 5 of this book, I feel like this book has prepared me for worship class for School of Ministry. He really broadened my thoughts and views of being a bondservant, which means that you're doing things out of love instead of being a slave, which is forcing yourself to do it, and aka I don't really want to go to work today kind of thing. It's really a great book. I highly recommend it to everyone that really wants to go and seek God's face in living a life of worship.
One of my favorite books, especially in this last season of my life, is Grace is Greater. In this book, Kyle Idleman explains God's grace and how no sin or bitterness is so great that it cannot be redeemed by Him. Yet, grace is a concept that's really difficult for us to grasp and understand until we actually experience it. This book shares the stories of many people who suffered great loss, pain, and even momentary anger, the difficulty of forgiveness, and how important it is to offer grace, especially to those who have hurt us. This book really helped me to understand the grace that God extends to us on a regular basis when we don't deserve it, when we think we're not good enough, and when we fall short of His glory. I highly recommend this book if you are struggling with any sort of bitterness, unforgiveness, or strife with anyone in your life. It really will help you to see grace and forgiveness through the lens of the Lord and the Bible, and help you to figure out how to apply really great practices to help you overcome your issues and be able to move past them so that you can live a healthy and happy life.
Another great book to read is called Uninvited by Lisa Turkhurst. Actually, Michelle recommended this book to me, and at first I was like, oh no, but we ended up reading it together.
And I'm so glad you listened. I feel like we really got a lot from this book.
Yeah. Uninvited is about the enemy wanting us to feel rejected, alone, and unqualified. Rejection is something we all deal with. Some start from a childhood and some start a little bit older. Unfortunately, rejection creates a belief pattern that we're left out or overlooked, but really God sets us apart. So in the book, Lisa talks about her personal experiences that makes us say, me too, especially when rejection hurts. To sum it up, she gives really great advice to change the bad habits and gives what and how to pray to help build your confidence with rejection.
Another great Christian book is The 5 Love Languages. This is actually a good book for Christians and non-Christians. It really helps to explain the way that we give and receive love. And little did I know that there's actually 5 different love languages, and they are quality time, acts of service, gifts, words of affirmation, and physical touch. And the truth is that we all give and receive in these different love languages. A lot of times we go through life feeling unloved or misunderstood by those around us. And this book will help to fight against those feelings. As you begin to learn that the way that you show love may not be the way that your partner receives it. The best part is that this does not pertain to only your significant other or your partner, but also to any relationship that you have in your life, whether that is a family relationship, a friendship, or even a work relationship. I highly recommend this book, regardless of the stage of life that you're in, whether you're in a relationship, single, married, or other. This book will definitely help you to have healthier relationships, maintain them, and grow them in love. And an extra little tidbit is that you can actually go online right now and take the test and figure out what your love language is. If you do, make sure to comment below and we'll tell you what ours are.
So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
Let us know in the comments if you've started or have already finished one of the books we've mentioned. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on what you've read.
And recommend some good books to us. We love a good read. So make sure you follow us on Instagram. Slide in our DMs if you wanna. Prayer requests are also always welcomed.
Always. If you haven't already, click the red button below that says subscribe and the little bell button that's right next to it. By clicking that, you'll be notified as soon as our videos go live every Wednesday.
Till next time.